We had hitched as far as we could, and now began the 4-mile trek to the coast. This was the dry side of the island, and the markedly warmer temperatures were highly appreciated after the frosty nights spent up in the canyon. We reached the landmark monkey pod tree, which, to the left, led to the beach, and right would take us further down to the end of the dirt road in the camp. We decided to take the beach. Hey everyone! Well, we've reached Polihale Beach after a long mission to get out here. Come with me for a quick tour of our humble abode. Over here is La Casa, and we've set up our much needed clothesline to dry out all our soaking goods. Here is our personal gym. And now, if you follow me out to our lanai, we just put this in last week. And this is our front porch. Woo! Polihale Beach stretches out 15 miles until reaching the cliffs of the Nepali coast at the northern end. The beach itself is lined with sand dunes that reach up to 100 feet high. During winter months, the surf can get huge and currents are strong and dangerous. We spent the afternoon enjoying the beach, watching an epic sunset, and gazing up at the millions of stars as we lay by the fire.
I awoke early the next morning for a quick jog on the beach, before joining Avi for some breakfast. Although we felt like we could have stayed there forever, we had to hit the road to get to our next destination. Although beautiful in its isolated nature, the lack of traffic made it near impossible to get a ride out, leaving us to walk in the hot morning sun, waiting for anyone to pick us up.
Well, we managed to score a ride out of Polihale after walking for a couple of miles. So I think we're going to be dropped off fairly close to Lahui, and from there it should be a straight ride onto Kapa'a, so all good.
But as conversation flowed, Jason became our friend and tour guide for the day, taking us for free samples at the Kauai coffee plantation, and a guide of the Manahune fish ponds, including the mythology behind it. He even offered to drive us all the way to Kapa'a, taking the scenic route rather than the heavily trafficked highway. A great day, a great ride, and a great guy. Thanks, Jason. But little did we know that that day would be the last bit of comfort we would see for a while. Once again, we found ourselves at the end of the road. This morning was an adventure in itself just to get to the Makaleha trailhead. We had to hitch a ride through a pretty residential area where you could tell that people were just not used to hitchhikers, judging by the looks that we got. But we made it, and it's only 9:15 in the morning. It's a beautiful day out. We're really excited for this trail. So hopefully we'll find some big waterfalls, little bamboo forests. We're really pumped. Come on.
Unfortunately, it wasn't as easy as we had predicted, and things were about to get rough. After making our way through the bamboo forest, we crossed the river a number of times, causing our shoes to become drenched. We reached the bulk of the hike, which consisted primarily of a tangled mess of hau trees, forcing us to contort our bodies around them as we fought the mosquitoes and mud. Alright, well this has definitely been one of the hardest treks we've been on yet. It's pretty much just been bushwhacking for the last 2 hours. The only way that we're kind of thinking we're on the right track is by these machete marks that you can see before me.
and the odd pink ribbon, but it's really quite extreme conditions. We've just been climbing through trees, under trees, and just being lost in the forest. And hopefully we're on the right track, so we'll see.
We finally broke free from the bush to an open area where 3 waterfalls converged. As exhausted and aching as we were, we decided to hike an additional 20 minutes up the river to our right, which would lead us to a waterfall. Conscious of time, we threw on our wet shoes to once again boulder hop, river wade, and bushwhack our way back to the start of the trail, making it back to camp just in time for nightfall.
We woke up this morning with a pretty set goal in mind and realized that half of our stuff was still soaking wet from the day before. So we took some extra time and made a new plan. Finally hitched our way up to a fairly difficult spot to get to for our next adventure, the tunnel hike. It was supposed to put us in a mile-long tunnel with a rewarding waterfall at the end. So we finally made it up here, walked an additional 3.5 miles just to get to the trailhead, over some muddy terrain, including some river crossings. But as we looked for a spot to camp, we ran into some well-seasoned hikers who were coming off of the trail, all muddied and bleeding. And they said that the insane amount of mud and the general overgrowth of the trail made this one of the worst hikes they'd ever done. So upon hearing that, as disappointed as we were, we had to change our plans again. So decided on doing the Powerline Trail across the island tomorrow instead. And so we will check in with you along the trails tomorrow, and hopefully by the end of the day we'll be out in Princeville. So we'll see you then. But unfortunately for me, I'd be taking a different route to Hanalei. This morning woke up feeling incredibly sick. And so I just left Avi at the Powerline Trail, and I am walking back down. Gonna stop at a clinic this morning. I'm gonna try and hitch a ride to Kapa'a. Hopefully he'll be able to help me out, and then try and meet up with Avi out in Hanalei. He'll be hiking the 10 miles across the island, and hopefully I will meet up with him later on. Feeling pretty low right now. Really down on myself a bit. But looking forward to the rest of the trip, and we have a lot ahead of us. So I think if I have to miss out on one day, even as much as I was really looking forward to this trail and to that adventure, I'd rather save the rest of my trip and be able to really enjoy it.
And so, after the controversial decision to part ways for the day, I went on alone for the first time since we had begun this adventure. The hike wasn't particularly difficult at the beginning, and little paths led out to points overlooking beautiful valleys on either side. The power lines themselves were hardly detrimental to the views, and at times I forgot they were there at all.
Hey everyone, I guess I've made it to the top of the Powerline Trail, because I can see the ocean from where I am, and I think from here on out it's a gentle descent down into Hanalei Bay, or Princeville rather. So far it's been pretty cruisy. There are a couple of steep climbs at a couple of points. The shoes are pretty wet, where I may or may not have fallen into a bog. But so far it's been amazing. It's been a really nice hike, offered some pretty stunning views, pretty easy going. Yeah, just a really nice walk. So hopefully it'll take me only another couple of hours to reach the bottom, and the best part is I haven't seen another soul the whole way. It's just been me on the trail for the past 3.5 hours, which has been bliss. So we'll check in once we get to Hanalei, and hopefully Leanne is there waiting for me.
Things got trickier on the never-ending descent into Princeville. The rain came, bringing with it mud, making it impossible to stay dry on the narrow marshy trail. And of course, I was thinking of Leanne, hoping she was okay, and wondering where she was at that moment. My mind drifted off to the grand reunion we would have once we finally saw each other again. Okay, maybe not, but it was still pretty grand. Happy to be back together, we relayed our individual adventures to one another. As it turns out, it was a really good thing that Leanne didn't do the hike. She got some antibiotics and was told that she should be good to be back on the trails after a day of rest. I was pretty exhausted from my day crossing the power line trail, so after sunset, we called it an early night.
Shining bright, out of bed I'm feeling quite alright. Take a shower out of home and now I'm on the way to the beach and rap the highway, driving along, passing the exit to the beach. Tonight will be the night, today will be the day. While the sun is shining, I'm sitting at the bay, the sun is shining. Wanna have some beer, the sun is shining. She won't disappear. The sun is shining, shining, shining. The sun is shining. So close your umbrellas.
After a great day spent enjoying the town and the beach, we were invited to a community potluck and bonfire, where people eagerly listened as we recounted our story so far. That night, we stayed with some family friends, excited for the prospect of a hot shower and a bed. While I was treated to my very own bedroom, Avi was delegated his very own spot outside on the porch. Amazed that our clothes had finally been washed, we packed up and decided to get in one more hike before embarking on the Kapa'a the following day.